'cause I'm working for a living.
Here you go, man. Sorry it took so long.
How is it possible you had to wait in line for coffee at a wizarding school?
Oh, that is not coffee. It's actually something called wobbly flobbledy juice, but they said it's similar to coffee.
Smells pretty good.
Yeah, they said the only side effect is that you might grow scales on your skin or a tail, but no other side effects.
That didn't sound too bad. I mean, if wobbly flobbly juice is the worst thing that happens on this job, I think we're golden.
I know what you mean. I mean, after working with those Death Star guys and those Hydra guys and even those little minion dudes, you know, there was always the chance that someone was going to come and blow you up, but I feel pretty safe at this school.
Well, there was that time that giant snake got loose.
Oh yeah, and there was a troll in the dungeon.
Yeah, and last I checked, that werewolf thing was still wandering around the property somewhere. Do not even get me started on the Dementors.
Now, don't be prejudiced towards the Dementors. They have feelings too. They just steal them from the souls of an innocent bystander.
Yeah. Oh, and when's somebody gonna do something about this Voldemort guy?
Whoa, man! Don't say his name. Isn't it like sacred or evil or sacredly evil or something?
I thought people just didn't say his name because it was just hard to say, like onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia.
Okay, isn't that what that Harry Potter kid is for? You know, the boy who lived?
Harry Potter? You gonna trust your fate to some kid? The boy who lived? Boy, not man. You need a man up in here to take care of this situation.
Okay, and who do you propose does this? You? Seriously, man, I was being serious. Oh, you're serious?
Of course I'm serious. Who's a more likely choice, me or this Harry, what's his name again?
Oh, don't do that. Don't be that guy. I mean, you are probably the least likeliest guy to defeat Voldemort.
Least likely? Least likely?
That's what I said.
Excuse me?
Okay, look, no offense, man. I'm just saying you're probably not the best candidate for the job. I mean, you're a little bit old, you have bad knees, and you have asthma attacks every time you run further than 15 feet.
16 feet?
Okay, 16 feet, whatever. Aren't you also afraid of guys with gray skin and bald heads and no noses?
No nose? Whoa, no. Nobody said anything about no nose. I am not doing that. You know how terrified I am of pugs.
Okay, how many times have we been over this? Pugs have noses, they're just smushed. They're called brachycephalic.
Yeah, I don't care. No noses, no man. I'm out. I guess I'll just have to fight him with my eyes shut.
Okay, why do you have to be the one that defeats Voldemort? Just let that Potter kid deal with it.
Okay, at first it was just an idea, but now I'm a little bit offended that you don't even think I can do it, and I'll prove it. Me and this Potter kid will fight, and whoever's bigger, whoever's stronger, whoever wins, that's who fights Voldemort.
Okay, should it bother me or you that you're proposing beating up a 13-year-old boy?
I'm just saying you're not giving me a fair shake.
Okay. I don't think you're the right guy for the job. And just to prove it, there you go.
What? Did you send me a text? What?
Ran further than 15 feet, didn't you?
So maybe it seems a little unfair to say that Rod is the least likely person to defeat an evil wizard, but come on. So what was the point of all that? Well, it gets us to the story of a man's life that we're going to be looking at over the next few weeks and seeing how God can use anyone to make a difference. After his resurrection, Jesus left the church with one instruction: go into the world and make disciples. And they listened. But the problem was, nearly a decade after his resurrection, they hadn't left the area where he taught and lived. They had been preaching and making disciples, but they hadn't gone to the world. And so God steps into all of this and chooses someone to be his instrument in taking the church into all the world. But God chooses the least likely person, the person no one could have ever imagined. God chooses a man named Saul, a man who had made it his mission in life to stomp out the church through any means necessary. Saul was throwing Christians in prison, beating them, even killing them because he believed what they preached was destroying his faith. But God intervenes. Saul meets Jesus in a very dramatic way, and from that moment on, Saul's life is changed. He ends up getting baptized and following Jesus, becoming a Christian, the people he had previously hunted. No one saw this coming. No one could have imagined what God was doing. No one could have imagined that Saul would start going by his Greek name, Paul, and that he would go on to write more of the New Testament than any other person. No one could have imagined that he would go throughout the world, starting churches, preaching about Jesus, even being beaten, whipped, and eventually killed for his faith. Saul may have been the least likely person for God to use, but that's how God works. You see, you may think you're the least likely person for God to use, but God can use you. God wants to use you to do something incredible in this world. But you, like Saul, have to be willing to do what God asks of you. You have to be willing to lay aside your past and choose to follow God. You have to be willing to do whatever God wants, no matter what it costs you. Many of us think God couldn't ever use us, that we're not popular enough, we're not smart enough, we're not outgoing enough, we've done too much bad stuff. But God can and wants to use anyone and everyone to do his will in this world. The question is, are you willing? So talk in your groups about how you can be used by God, and then we'll move on.